period in American history, okay? It's called the federal period. You'll notice it begins in 1789. That is when the Constitution was ratified. Before 1789, we were under the Articles of Confederation, which was a disaster, which is why we had to write the Constitution in the first place. The United States of America as a country under a effective Constitution began in 1789, okay? It's called the Federalist era for different reasons. Number one, the Constitution of the United States is a Federalist Constitution. It's written to support and create a federal form of government where states and central government share powers, okay? That's one reason it's called that. The second reason for our terms is it was dominated by the Federalist Party. The Hamiltonians had evolved into a political party called the Federalists, and they dominated this time period. Okay? Is everybody good? What happened in 1816 that brought an end to it?
The convention.
Yeah, that's the year of the Hartford Convention. That's when the Federalists pretty much committed political suicide. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the factions. Okay? Guys, these are the first political parties in the United States. And what that means is they're setting a precedent. Their faction is going to set the basis for a philosophy that will not go away. Okay? You can trace today's parties back to this root right here. You can trace today's Republican Party back to the Federalists. You can trace today's Democratic Party back to the Jeffersonians. So that theme that runs throughout American history, it may have different names and things, but the faction is the same. Okay? Okay, first of all, they're Hamiltonian. Alexander Hamilton is the face of the Federalists. Okay? They believe that the states are secondary to the national government. The national government reigns supreme. And if there's any type of argument between the states and national government, they believe that the national government should always win out. Okay? Remember, we talked about court cases. John Marshall was a Federalist. That's why all of Marshall's court cases will rule in favor of the national government. Has everybody got that so far? Guys, that's important to know because if you have any court case of John Marshall, it's automatically going to be in favor of the national government. Okay? They believe, when it says collectivism, that word kind of makes me bleh. Okay, it's not a good word for this. What it means is the national government guarantees liberty for everybody. Okay? In other words, I'm going to guarantee your liberty. Don't worry about it. Don't try to guarantee your own liberty. I'll take care of you. I know what's best for you. Okay? That's what they're saying. Okay? They are pro-business. That's why the Gilded Age was dominated by the Republican Party. They were pro-business at the time of Hamilton. Later on, when we talk about economic history, we'll go back and talk about his plan for manufacturers. Okay? They're pretty much centered in the North, in the Northeast. The North and the Northeast have to rely on a business type of economy because they cannot rely on a large-scale agricultural economy. They believe in a federal system of government, which means that, this is important, that the national government and states will share power. Within that equilibrium, they believe that the federal government should always be supreme. Okay? And they're pro-British. They like the British style of government. They like the fact that Britain has a House of Lords, a House of Commons, upper house, lower house, and that the people have an English Bill of Rights. They like that, but they like the fact that it all boiled under the king. There's a central power structure in England. So they like that. Okay? They like it so much that they will be accused of being monarchists. Okay? I think we talked about this. If we did, we should have. One of the biggest problems in the early republic is, what do you call the president? I mean, you know, England doesn't have a president. They have a prime minister, so what do you call him? And there are different people offering things, okay? John Adams wanted to call him the king, okay? The king in a constitutional monarchy. And the reason is, and Hamilton made this point, because, you know, the first president was George Washington. We don't want to create another King George. For God's sakes, we just got away from a King George. Okay? So the fact that they were trying to distance themselves is an important thing. These people are frustrated, and for no other reason than the title. Okay? It depends on what the question looks like on the AP exam. All right? We always try to refer to them as Jeffersonian Republicans. Okay? Most scholars that study this period mention that. Jefferson referred to them as Democratic Republicans. Okay? And the reason is he's saying we believe in democracy. We believe in a republic where you elect people to represent you. So because of that, we believe in Democratic Republic, which is why we call them Democratic Republicans. Okay? No matter who they are, they're Jefferson. They're Jefferson. If you want to loosely apply, and the key word here is loosely apply, today's philosophy to these two, these would be conservative, these would be liberal. Okay? And that's loose because that's gone through a lot of changes. All right? They believe in the states. Guys, to them, the states are the individual. The states represent their citizens. They can't see any reason why someone in Maine should have any sort of influence over something that happens in Georgia. Okay? So they believe in the primacy of the states. Guys, this is the party of states' rights. Be sure you remember this, because they will evolve. Okay? They will evolve. Okay? They believe that their liberty should be guaranteed through their state constitutions. We'll determine what's right for us. And they're pro-agriculture, which means South and West. And these two are important. Jefferson believed that the epitome of a virtuous citizen was a farmer. That farmers were as good as it gets. And if you tilled the soil and you worked the soil and you grew food for yourself and for everybody else, that was the epitome of what an American citizen should be. He believed in the sanctity of the farm. Now, people, listen carefully. You might want to put your pencil down for a second. This is why this is important. All right? This party will grow, and those basic things will stay the same, especially this. Okay? They will believe in states' rights. The thing that's going to throw a barrier in front of them is the Civil War. Okay? The South will make up the bulk of this party. They will become the Jacksonian Democrats. The South will make up the bulk of this party. The war comes along and destroys that. Okay? These are those former Cavaliers that will be struggling to reinstall home rule in the South. This is the birth of the Bourbon Redeemers. Okay? And you see where they've gone. Okay? They will secede from the Democratic Party in 48 and form the Dixiecrats. Okay? So this will always be the party of the South. Okay? They believe in states' rights, and they've got an amendment to back them up. These are the ones that demanded that a Bill of Rights be put to the Constitution before ratification in the first place. Okay? Remember, the 9th and 10th protect the sanctity of the states. They believe in nullification. Okay? They believe in the Kentucky to Virginia resolution. So anything that supports states' rights, they're going to be behind. And even after the Civil War, okay, they will still support states' rights. That's why if you fast forward to 1940, the Dixiecrats, they believe the state has a right to determine whether you segregate the races or not. Okay? And they're pro-French. And that's mainly because of Jefferson. During the federal period was also the time of the French Revolution. Jefferson believed that any democratic society should undergo a revolt every now and then. In fact, he said the tree of liberty is nourished with the blood of patriots. A revolution every 2 years is a good thing. And what he's saying is that way you don't get stagnant. And that way you don't allow monarchy or oppression to set in. Okay? And because the French were going through their revolution, Jefferson thought it would be a model society. Okay? And of course, this is before Robespierre and the Reign of Terror. Okay? Everybody gets it. Okay? So everybody got this. Okay? Yeah. Okay. You just stop it.
Are you done?
Okay, any questions about this? Guys, this is the basic foundation for political parties throughout American history. Okay? 1816.